Feel owned by your phone? I was 200 checks a day, stressed out, until I escaped. How'd I ditch it? Watch this. Hey, welcome to Simply Geniusly. This audio recording includes subtitles so you can follow along more intentionally and soak in the ideas at your own pace. Why is it that so many of us can't put our phones down, even when we know it's dragging us down? We're supposed to be in charge of our time, our focus, our lives. We're told phones make us connected, productive, on top of things. And yet, somewhere along the way, that promise flipped upside down. That tool became a trap. Now, a lot of us, the same people who once loved the freedom phones gave us, are stuck as adults. We can't stop scrolling. We feel distracted, anxious, cut off from real moments. We struggle to focus, to rest, to connect with people face to face. And worst of all, we can't explain why. Because on the outside, everything looks fine. We're still sharp, still capable. But inside, there's this constant pull, like life's happening without us, and we're just watching it slip by. And it turns out there's a reason for that. We often build our daily lives around our phones, leaning on them for everything. And when that happens, the very thing that made us feel in control, as kids or young adults, becomes the exact thing that owns us now. So let's talk about why this happens, and more importantly, how to undo it. Because none of this is about you failing, it's about a habit that stopped working. And if you understand how you got here, you can start to find a way out. When we're young, or even just starting out with phones, our habits are pretty simple. We latch onto one or two things and build our days around them. For example, a kid might base their routine on playing games or texting friends. It's all very straightforward, very one-dimensional, but that's normal. That's how habits start. They're basic, tied to what we'd like or need. And one of the most powerful habits we pick up is relying on our phones. That little device sticks. It gets reinforced by how easy it makes life. Friends text you back fast, games keep you busy, answers are a tap away. It becomes a core part of how you live, how you feel okay. And for a while, it's great. Having a phone as a kid or even later gives you this edge. You don't need to wait to talk to someone. You're never bored. You've got the world in your pocket. You stand out because you're always reachable, always in the loop. But here's the hidden cost. When you get used to your phone doing everything, what it's really doing is training you. You lean on it when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're restless. And over time, you start to believe something dangerous. My phone should always fix how I feel. That idea quietly messes up everything as you grow older. Because the moment you're bored, or lonely, or stressed, and your phone doesn't fix it fast, it doesn't feel like a normal bump. It feels like you're losing control. You tell yourself, if my phone's supposed to keep me okay, then why am I still off? So instead of stepping away, you dive deeper. You scroll more, check more, wait for that next buzz. You don't set it down unless it works. You don't walk away unless it feels good. You chase that quick fix because it might prove you're still on top. And slowly, your world gets smaller. You only turn to your phone, you stick to that one comfort, that one crutch. You protect your habit instead of breaking it. And that's the tough part. While everyone else is out there living, trying, resting, you're locked in this phone loop. The longer it goes on, the harder it is to stop. At some point, you realize you've built your whole day, your whole self, around something that's now pulling you under. You can't afford to miss a text. You can't afford to be bored. You can't afford to let go of what's keeping you going. So you keep holding on. And that's when the disconnection starts to creep in. Because when you stop living outside your phone, you stop connecting too. Think about it. Connection comes from real stuff. Sharing a meal, laughing together, working through something tough side by side. And if you start dodging those things, if you pull back from the moments where people bond, you miss out. You don't join the chat because you're scrolling. You don't rest because you're refreshing. You don't show up because you're waiting for a ping. And without realizing it, you step out of life's flow. But you still want connection, right? So what do? You lean on your phone harder? You text instead of talk, watch instead of join, browse instead of be there. You try to feel close through a screen, figure out people through posts. And it works a little. You can keep up, reply quick, stay in the loop. You might even seem fine on the outside, funny in chats, quick with a like. But underneath, you're tired, worn out from chasing something that doesn't fill you up. Because instead of just being with people, you're stuck in your head, wondering who's online, what to say next, why they haven't texted back. So now even connecting feels like work, something you have to nail. And to avoid messing it up, you pull back more. This is where the loneliness digs in deep. But you're smart, right? You should be able to fix this. So you try to think your way out. You tell yourself you're fine. You list reasons you don't need more. You analyze why you're stuck. And none of it works because your brain can't fix a feeling. It's great for puzzles, not for peace. When you try to use it to feel okay, it just spins. There's no answer to, am I enough in your head? That's a heart thing. And for phone junkies like us, that heart part often gets left behind. When the emptiness gets too loud, when the loneliness stings too much, your mind throws up one last wall. You tell yourself, I'm just different. I don't fit because I'm too busy, too hooked, too me. And now, instead of facing the ache, you convince yourself you're okay alone. Not because it's true, but because it hurts less than admitting you're lost. This is what they call a defense trick. It's a wall that keeps everyone out. Even when you want to reach out, it stops you because reaching out means letting go, showing up, being real. So how do we fix this? The first step, and it's a must, is letting go of your phone as your everything. You have to drop that habit, not because phones are bad, but because leaning on them all the time is breaking you. When your peace is tied to that screen, you'll do anything to keep it buzzing. Avoid silence, avoid stillness, avoid yourself. You'll stall your life just to stay in that loop, and eventually it'll crash. The fix is building a new way, not around your phone, but around being okay without it. Stop asking, what keeps me busy? Start asking, what keeps me alive? Stop hiding in your screen. Start stepping out, even when it's hard. Try a night with no phone. Mess it up, laugh it off, keep going. Show up to real stuff, not to master it, but to be there. Yeah, it's awkward. It feels strange, like you're starting over. But it's not. It's the first real move to feeling whole. The old habit said your worth came from staying plugged in. The new one says your worth comes from being you. Messy, quiet, real. Being you means you're allowed to be bored, allowed to miss a text, allowed to feel off sometimes. You're allowed to not know what's next, but the only way out is to try anyway. Not perfect tries, not phone-fixed tries, just small, honest steps forward. So if you're someone who feels stuck, numb, or tied to your phone, if you've spent your days chasing that buzz and now don't know how to stop, this is your start. Let go of the screen story. Stop trying to stay busy, start trying to be you. You don't need your phone to belong, you just need to show up, even when it's tough, even when it's quiet, even when it's new. And if you can do that, if you can let go of the phone that needs to run it all, you'll feel something you haven't in a while. Freedom. Not because you earned it, not because you're owed it, but because you finally stepped away from the leash and into the world where real life happens. And that world, it's not so bad. It's where you can be seen, where you can feel at home. So if this hit you, if you see yourself in this trap, or felt a click you can't quite name, leave a comment and tell me what stood out. You're not alone in this. Naming it might just be your first step to breaking it. Thanks for listening to Simply Geniusly. Take care of your mind, and I'll see you in the next episode.